Hello, welcome to the Sunnydale Diaries, a podcast where I, Sean,
And mi amo Melanie.
watch and discuss every episode of Buffy the Vampire Slayer and how the themes of those episodes impact our lives.
Yep.
We will be talking today about season 4, episode 4, Fear Itself.
Mm-hmm.
If you are new to the podcast, welcome. And if you are returning, welcome back. I am a longtime fan of Buffy. Watched it when it originally aired 25 years ago. And it's all new to Melanie.
All new.
Taking it all in.
New world.
If you like this podcast, please leave us a review or leave us a comment if you're watching on YouTube or listening on Spotify. If you want to reach out to us, you can email us at the Sunnydale Diaries at gmail.com. And we're pretty much all over social media at the Sunnydale Diaries.
You can't escape us. We're everywhere.
We really are in a lot of places. Like if you Google the Sunnydale Diaries, like there's a lot of results.
Yeah?
For us.
We're everywhere.
Yes.
I know. Insidious.
Ooh,
Did you like that segue?
I did.
All right.
Scary movies.
Scary movies. It's a Halloween episode, Sean.
Yeah, I went for the orange.
Oh, I like it. I was way off with my prediction. I was so far off. But I will say, when I saw Oz's name tag and I said, oh, it's got a G, I was going to say, I promise you, I was going to say, does it say God? I almost said it, and then I was like, no, it's not going to say God. But go with your gut now.
It was a good prediction.
Yeah.
Like I said before we got on camera, like it's a 2-word title.
Yeah.
And from the section from last episode where I just gave you like the one still image from the credits that was in this one to have you try and guess what's happening.
Yeah, I wasn't very good with those either, but I would love to see the episodes that I described. Oz in a support group for werewolves, or they do an episode that's like an 80s slasher film and Giles is the chainsaw guy. That would be great.
I would have loved it.
Yeah.
Some of your other predictions, you hit the nail on the head. Like you said, Anya and Xander were going to get together, and they did. And
oh, did they?
Yeah. So far, they're getting into it, I think.
Yeah, I think so. Okay, so this is a Halloween episode, and there's some scary stuff going on. So we decided we were going to talk about Halloween haunted houses.
And scary movies.
Did you go to did like your school do haunted houses when you were little?
I remember my elementary school did, and I was just like a little chicken and my eyes were closed.
Did they have the bowl of eyeballs?
Yes.
And the bowl of spaghetti guts?
Yep. I was thinking about that when they showed the peeled grapes and say, pretend it's eyeballs. They did that on one of the very first episodes of the Treehouse of Horror Simpsons Halloween episodes.
Oh, yeah.
Where they're passing it all around and Bart's like, we haven't gotten the eyeballs yet. And Homer is just like shoving everything in his face.
They also did the bowl of eyeballs in American Horror Story Coven.
Oh.
With, what's her name? Kathy Bates's character. It's actually eyeballs. And innards. Which, there's a connection between that show and this episode.
Yeah, I was surprised. I was waiting for a text. I was surprised.
I was like, oh my gosh. Anyway, okay, haunted houses.
Yeah. I have a story.
Okay.
It has a sad ending. But when I was a kid, I was probably like 6 or 7, we went to Six Flags in New Jersey, and they had a haunted house. And so it was me, my sister, my mom, my dad. We went through, and of course, the haunted house, it's dark. I, again, probably crying, my eyes closed most of the time. Yeah. But somehow my sister and my mom got separated from us, and they couldn't find their way out.
Oh, no.
And then a couple of weeks later, there was a fire, and people died.
Oh, that's not good. Wow. Yeah, that's like that. It was a different time. Regulations were not as strict. It's like that action park in New Jersey. Yeah. Oof. Yeah, that's usually how I go through haunted houses too, with my eyes closed and pushing the person in front of me, which you probably know because I'm sure you were in front of me at some point. Yeah. We went to Halloween Horror Nights, and I'm sure I went through most of the haunted houses like that.
Yeah. Halloween Horror Nights, I remember because they had the fake chainsaws.
Oh, the guys with the chainsaws outside.
Yes, and they were freaking out our friend Martha. They kept chasing after her.
Yeah, she invites those guys, I think. She just looks so innocent and like she's a prime candidate.
Yeah, if you look scared, they're gonna go
Yeah,
after
yeah,
you.
yeah.
You just gotta, like, make direct eye
What
contact and
what
wink at them, and they'll go away.
what kind of stuff in a haunted house creeps you out or scares you? Is it the jump scares or is it more like a scary ambiance scene, like the way the scenery?
It's the scene more than the jump scare because I think I psych myself up so much that when the jump scare actually happens, it doesn't bother me.
Really?
Yeah. I will say I don't like I'm fine with clowns, like, in
Yeah.
circus, clown on the street, but, like, clowns in a haunted house? No, I don't like
Creepy
that.
clowns. I went to that one year Halloween Horror Nights, and they had 2 that were creepy. One was, like, creepy doll theme, and I
Mm,
was like, "Ah." Anything where there's, like, creepy music box music,
yeah.
and another one where it was like it wasn't Titanic, but it was like a shipwreck kinda thing, a sunken ship, and as you were going in, you were going up, and it was like the portholes were on the sides of you, and you could see the
Uh,
ghostly creatures. Oh my god, that was so scary. And then they had another thing where it was I think might have been the year that they had the clown was the host of Halloween Horror Nights, Jack,
mm,
I think his name, and they had a foam zone where it was like you were walking through foam, like sudsy foam, and
yeah,
then
yeah, like a home party.
yeah, like a foam party, and there were scary clowns in the foam, like, all of a sudden, there would be a
Oh,
scary
oh,
clown in front of
no.
you out of the foam. Oh, that's terrifying. Yeah.
I never went, but Screamageddon, which is, like, more, I think, in the middle of Florida, it's I think, like, a bunch of, like, big barns that they
Oh,
turn into haunted
yes, I
houses.
always see the billboard.
I remember my a friend of mine went a few years ago, and he said, "When you walk in, it's dark.
Oof.
They light flashlights quickly, and it's all, like, clown suits and clown masks, like, the whole wall is covered with them, but then they start to move because some of them actually have people in
Oh my
them, and
god.
yeah, no, I would
They wouldn't even have to pop out at me. All they would have to do is
that's
especially
it.
if there's strobe lights. Oh my god, did that one just move? Oh my god, yeah, I'd freak out. Ugh. Yeah, I think I'm wimpy for that stuff. But I think again, I'm like you, like I probably psych myself out more. Like they wouldn't even have to pop out at me. Like just
Right.
if they just slightly move something, I'd be like freaking out. Yeah. Oof. And then we were gonna talk about scary movies too. I know we've talked about how you like scary movies more than me. Or at
Yes.
least you watch scary movies more than me.
But, like you mentioned Insidious,
Yeah, you told me to
that
watch that
whole
one.
line, yeah, that whole series was the last one was not good, but all the other ones are good.
Wait, is that a series, Insidious?
Oh, yeah, there's 5.
That's the one with the brother and sister in the car? That's Insidious, right? No, that's
I don't
Hereditary.
remember.
That's the one
Hereditary,
you had me watch.
yes,
Oh,
that's pretty
yeah, okay. I don't know if I've seen Insidious.
Insidious is I think it's James Wan, I think. The same director who did Conjuring
Oh,
movies,
I
or at
can
least
see
the first
that.
few.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, you saw The Conjuring in the theater, I
I
remember.
did. I know. That's
Yeah.
crazy. I know.
Like, that whole, universe because they had the Annabelle
Yeah,
ones, Conjuring,
yeah.
and all those, I like those, but, like, anything where it's just, like, ridiculously gory just for the effect of it. I keep hearing about, like, this series of movies, The Terrifier, the scary
Yes, that
clown,
guy's scary.
and I've heard it's just, like, disgustingly gory.
But then
I'm like,
you've
"Nope.
watched all the Final Destination movies, haven't you?
No, I haven't.
Oh, you
I have
haven't?
not my husband has.
Oh,
I actually wouldn't mind watching those and just maybe just, like, turning away when
when it's gonna
somebody sticks
happen.
their hand down the garbage disposal or something, but I like the concept of the Final Destination movies, but I have not actually seen those.
You know what I do, like,
Uh,
for all the Saw movies? I could tell you what they're all about, and I could tell you about all the puzzles and games because I go to Wikipedia. I Google the synopsis, and I just read the synopsis. I'm like, "Okay, good.
mhm,
I'm done. I
yep,
don't need to see it." I think probably the first scary movie I watched was Poltergeist as a kid on HBO. And I should
mm,
not have watched it at whatever age I was, like
I did the same
9 or
thing,
10
yep.
or whatever. I
Yeah.
did rewatch that recently. I think I probably was texting you, and there are still some scary
Oh,
parts to
yeah.
that, but mostly it's like, oh, ridiculous. Funny.
Yeah. just the TV thing freaks me out enough that I know we've talked about had recurring
Yeah.
nightmares as a kid of things coming out of the TV. Clearly, they were demonic Muppets, but grabbing me and pulling me in,
Yeah.
and I think part of that was from
Muppet
from Poltergeist.
newscaster. 'Cause there
That's
was an
right. That's
actual
very
one
good.
there was an actual skit of that.
Yep.
But yeah, that is creepy, and then there was a scary clown in that movie too.
Oh yes.
No
Yeah.
wonder we're scared of clowns.
Yeah. Those poor clowns. They're just trying to make people
Trying to
laugh.
make you happy.
But if you look at pictures like old timey clowns from like 100, they were scary looking. Yeah, they were.
Yeah.
What do you think is the scariest movie that you've ever seen?
At the time, I will tell you, I went with my friend to see the movie Copycat.
Yeah.
Movie with
That's with,
Sigourney Weaver and Harry Connick
and
Jr.
Ajit.
was like the he was the copycat of a
Mhm.
serial killer. And I
Yep.
remember I went home and I was living by myself and my friend dropped me off and I called him. I was like, "I have to come over. I can't stay here in my house by myself." I was so scared. But again,
I
that was
get
like
it.
a psychological, but also it was about a serial killer. That kind of stuff really happens in real life. It wasn't like a slasher fic. It was
Right.
in the realm of possibility. That was very scary to me.
Yeah.
That's the first thing that comes to my mind. What about you?
Okay. I feel like I was in middle school, but my parents were watching one of the Hellraiser movies,
Oh,
either 2 or 3, and I don't know why I sat with them, but I didn't sleep for it felt like a week.
really?
I was just scared. I still cannot. Now again, I got on Wikipedia. I know the plot, but I just can't do it.
I will also say Blair Witch Project. I went to see
Mm,
its premiere. It was like a midnight premiere. Again, I
yeah.
was college age at this time, but the
Right.
last shot of that movie still in my
Mhm.
head still creeps me out and whoa, I don't think I could watch that movie now. I don't oof.
Paranormal Activity? You
I
haven't
haven't.
seen
I know
that yet.
you've seen those. You like those.
You gotta at least the first one. You gotta watch the first
Yeah?
one. It's
Alright.
really not it's really not scary. Have I ever steered you in the wrong direction?
I'm sure you have in some way, but nothing is coming to mind. But what are friends for?
Um, that one has a good last scene. Not like Blair Witch, but it was good. I do remember I was a little inebriated when we watched it at the theater,
Yeah.
but I've seen it since then sober, and
Hold up.
that's a good scary movie.
Alright.
And again, they did a bunch of sequels, and they're not as good as the first one.
No.
They did keep the storyline going among them when it's just not a slasher movie and
Mhm.
like actually has some substance.
I'm gonna look up right now. I'm gonna Google s- top scary movies, mainstream. Oh, Saw 2, Smile. You and I watched Smile together. I don't
We didn't
remember it
watch it
being that
together.
scary.
No, I didn't think it was that scary. I heard that the sequel was very good, but I haven't seen it yet.
Okay. Jacob's Ladder. Did you see that? Jacob's Ladder?
I saw that in the theater with my dad and my sister. Don't really remember it though.
That was a very like a smart movie. Like
Mhm.
scary in a very smart way. Like you really had to think
Mm.
about it. Oh, the Alien movies?
Oh, yeah. I think I've seen them all except I didn't watch, like, the Alien versus Predator series, but all the true, like, Alien ones except for the one that came out last year, Requiem.
Cabin in the Woods is on this list, Entertainment Weekly's list. That
Yeah.
was
I
funny.
Kevin yeah, it had a good twist.
Yes.
It wasn't your
I
typical,
don't know if I would call that I guess it's a scary movie.
yeah.
Oh, what about the Stephen King movies? Carrie, Cujo,
Carrie
The
Carrie
Shining.
was very good, yeah. I think out of all of them, The Shining, I think, is my favorite.
Again, though, because probably something like that could happen.
Mhm.
Psychologically thrilling
Mhm.
movies. Oh, Children of the Corn. I remember the original Children of the Corn. So that came out in 1984. I was at a sleepover at Nicole Patterson's house, and they wanted to watch this Children of the Corn movie. And I was such a wimp at that time. I was like, no. But that was a scary as F movie to me then. Now I watch it, I'm like, oh my gosh.
I think Nicholas Brendan was in one of the sequels.
Really? I know.
Yeah.
Oh man. Oh, okay. I've got another one. Oh, now I'm getting into this. I could go on now. Creep Show and Creep Show 2.
I saw Creepshow. I don't think I ever saw the second one.
There's one it's little movies, like little short stories. One of them was the kids in the lake, and there's a bunch of high school, college kids, and they all go to this lake, and there's a no swimming sign, and they don't pay attention. They all swim out to this raft in the middle, and then there's this oily patch in the lake, and it starts devouring them.
Oh,
I
jeez.
know. You've not seen this? Oh,
No.
and, like, there ends up being one person, spoilers, there ends up being one guy who makes it to the shore because he pushes his girlfriend into the thing, and while it's eating her,
Uh,
he swims for it, and he gets to the end, and the thing is, like, floating across the lake to chase him, but he gets out, he's, "I won, I beat you," and then it raises up out of the water, and it goes, like a big blanket.
oh
Oh
man.
my god. Oh.
Uh,
Ooh, I'm getting
would you
goosebumps even thinking about that. Totally ridiculous, but whenever I'm at a lake now and I'm in the lake, I start thinking about that damn lake monster. Goodnight Mommy is another one that I've read about and read the whole synopsis, but I've not seen it. It's a creepy twins movie.
okay?
There's creepy Hereditary.
Yeah,
Uh,
that was good.
oh, It. When it first came out in what, 1990?
The miniseries with Tim
With Tim
Curry.
Curry, we all watched
Yeah.
it, and it was terrifying to me.
Yep. Yep.
I've not seen the 2017 version with the Skarsgård.
I did. It was good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Megan, which is pretty new, I didn't see that.
No, I haven't seen that one yet.
What about zombie
On the list.
movies like Night of the Living Dead, Day of the Dead?
I think the only like one that comes to mind that I definitely have seen was Shaun of the Dead.
Yeah,
Pretty good.
not as much
Good
scary as
movie.
funny.
Yeah.
A Quiet Place. I just watched recently on
Yeah.
your recommendation. That was very good.
Yeah. Yeah. I like that. Of the scene when she's walking down the stairs and she steps on the nail. Oh,
Yes. And then all the Scream movies. The
yeah.
first
I
one,
think
very
I've
scary
seen
to
them.
me, and then
I
past that, I don't know.
Yeah.
It's like, the first one is always great, and that was such a groundbreaking movie in that how they handled it was like Cabin Fever, like, such a
Mhm.
different take on a horror movie.
Right.
So it had and so then the following ones, they were fine.
Yeah. And the first one, I think it came out 96, which was the year I graduated high school. So I was like, that is, oh, I'm not saying it like
The year I
that.
got my master's degree, but okay. Thanks for hanging out with me, Sean, my young friend.
it, it just mean
You can wheel me
I feel like
around the nursing home.
movies, I feel like from the time like you finish high school, start college are the ones that are going to stick with
Yeah,
you.
like the shows you're
So like,
watching at that time. Circle it
speaking
back,
of,
Sean. Let's talk about this
yeah,
episode.
yes, fear
Yeah.
itself.
Okay, so we started with a recap in which we were reminded that Parker was an a-hole and very
Yes.
manipulative, and that didn't keep Buffy from feeling like she still wanted him, and she blamed herself. Man, he did a job on
Mhm.
her. But as we
He really did.
find in this episode, there's pattern here with Buffy and her feeling like she's not enough and she's alone.
Yeah.
And we also were reminded that Anya and Xander did it. And that we were also there were guys with guns, masked guys with guns. We still don't know what those guys are
Yes.
about.
We open up to a pumpkin carving
That
scene
was an interesting camera shot they had, like inside the
through the eye.
pumpkin.
Xander, Willow, Oz, and Buffy.
Yep, carving
So
pumpkins.
they're all carving.
That was like the
Yeah.
least messy pumpkin carving ever in the history of pumpkin carving. They're doing that in his basement room, I
Yeah.
think, but there's no
Yeah.
guts anywhere. They didn't have it all
Well,
over
no,
them. It was very
there
clean.
wasn't newspaper
No.
strewn
Everything in
everywhere.
Sunnydale is pristine. The sewers, the streets, the pumpkins,
Although
California.
there is a bowl or a container of guts that Buffy is just like playing with.
But still
I
perfectly
will.
clean.
I hate that feeling, or like cutting up like butternut
Yeah.
squash. It like leaves. It feels like it leaves like a film on my fingers, and same thing with pumpkin guts. And of course, I wash my hands and it goes away. But I hate that feeling. So as she's doing that, I was just
You're cringing?
cringing.
That was like a
Yes.
horror movie to you.
I don't like butternut squash fingers. That may be
There's
the
a movie
episode
called
title.
we need to make a movie called The Butternut Squash Incident.
That's the episode title.
Butternut Squash Incident. You can tell Buffy is feeling very melancholy and existential, and she's just so down after the whole Parker thing,
Yeah.
which,
But it's hard.
that time of your life, I can
I just,
remember my college friends, me breaking up with my boyfriend and them taking me out to dinner to try and cheer me up, and I'm just sitting at the Chinese restaurant crying over my noodles. Uh,
oh,
it's
wiping the
very
tears away with a crab
yes, it's a
rangoon.
very emotional time. So I know what she's going through. We're talking about Halloween plans. Xander's got this great plan. They're gonna watch a movie.
He's so psyched. Be prepared to be scared by Fantasia.
Fantasia. I wanna know how that happens at a video rental place, that you go in for Phantasm and you walk out with Fantasia.
Yeah, I don't have a good answer for that one because they're even spelled
Yeah,
differently.
right.
Oz's line of hippos wearing tutus don't unnerve me like they
That's
used
right.
to.
I went to see Fantasia. They re-released it in the '90s.
All
Or it must
right.
have been an anniversary or something, and I went and I fell asleep in the middle of it. I left. It was not my movie, which is surprising. I do
Uh-oh.
love Disney, but yeah, not that movie. So they decide instead of watching Fantasia, hey, there's a party at the frat house. We can do that. And then Buffy gonna opt out. I'm just gonna go home.
And Xander's kind of also feeling a little bit left out too because they're talking about the party at the frat house and
Yeah.
he knew nothing about it.
Yeah.
He's feeling a little bit too.
Yep. Then we get a shot of Buffy on the pristine Sunnydale streets, out on the
Hmm.
streets. And then she's walking down the street and this demon jumps out and she knocks him to the ground right away. And it turns out it's not really a demon. It's just some kid, some college guy in a
In a
mask.
mask. Yeah.
Jeez, what's your problem?
Oz also had another good line about post Parker depression.
Yes. Yes.
Uh,
And that's the scene where Willow's, does anybody else want to smack him? They're like, yep. And then we get the credits.
yeah. And I noticed we have a new noise in the credits.
I didn't notice. We do?
We do.
Oh,
So the whoosh is gone
yeah.
now. And it was specifically at 4 minutes 2 seconds in this episode after Nicholas Brendan's credit, and it's Buffy staking a vampire, and it's like the noise they make as they dissolve,
Oh.
like going wow. That's not
Interesting.
it
I
at all.
wonder
But
why. Who decides? It's time for another noise. Because we
I
didn't
had
have
enough of
the
the whoosh.
whoosh in the last couple episodes, did we? I don't think we did.
I gotta say, I wasn't really paying
I don't think
attention.
so. I think they changed the credits. We got those new flashes, and I don't know that the whoosh was even there.
Yeah. So I feel like every season now I gotta be on
Yeah,
alert.
you gotta be on sound alert. They went a few episodes without a sound, and they were like, "All right, the ratings are in. We gotta add a
We
sound back
need to
in."
change.
People are complaining. We're getting phone calls. We're getting faxes.
3 people have sent an email.
Change the credits. It's an emergency.
Open up in the what would you call this? Food hall?
When I was looking at the credits, or not the credits, the trivia, they refer to it as the canteen.
Okay, we'll go with that.
Okay.
We're at the canteen, Willow and Buffy, and Willow feels like she's plateaued
At her
with
Wicca.
her magic.
She's a Wicca and she's plateaued.
Yeah, and what is college for if not experimenting?
That's what they
Hell yeah, I
say.
agree with that statement.
That's what they say.
And so, Willow wants to try some new spells,
Mm.
and Oz shows up, and Oz being Oz is afraid that she's going to get hurt, you lose control, and he relates it to himself. He's still supportive.
He's
Whatever
very
you want to do, hon.
supportive, and we've always talked about how he's so earnest and he's just so sweet to her. And this episode, his stoic facade, I don't know, the
Uh-huh.
way he presents is just like he hardly emotes at all, was a little
Yeah.
annoying to me. I don't know why, but I was like, come on, dude, emote a
Yeah.
little, smile. You'd be so pretty if
Just a
you'd
little something.
smile.
Oh, yeah.
Anyway, yeah, okay, so he's worried but supportive. And then Buffy sees Parker in the cafeteria and she makes a quick exit. And
He's sitting there laughing it up, having a great time with the ladies.
yeah, he is a jerk. Willow, being a good friend, follows her out and was trying to comfort and she's like, you need to deal with this. And Buffy's, no, I'm not dealing with it. I don't want to deal with it. I'm going to take a vacation from dealing. And Buffy's not going to go to the party. She's going to patrol. She's convinced that that's the better use of her time. She'll check
She's
with
gonna check in with
Giles. She'll check with Giles. She's like, Giles will be around. He doesn't care about Halloween. Cut to,
Giles.
aye, aye, aye.
How would you describe that costume, Melanie?
My first reaction was racist.
Yeah,
Yeah, it was a different time. That's
yeah,
not an
I know.
excuse. We know better now.
Yeah.
But yeah,
That sombrero was
that
gigantic.
was a crazy sombrero with the fringe. I've never
With the
seen a
fringe
sombrero with
moving.
fringe. It reminded me of that hat that Billy Porter wore to some awards ceremony where it had like the fringe that opened and closed.
Yep, I remember that. Yep.
I do want to say though, going back to the last scene, I really like Willow's hair in this episode.
I was thinking
You
that.
were,
Yeah.
and I'm letting my hair grow out from when I had the pixie cut, which you guys
Mhm.
probably remember if you were watching. But so I'm growing it out, and I was thinking, I wonder if my hair is getting long enough yet that I could start doing something like that. It was a really cute cut.
It was a very cute
Yeah.
cut. You go back to season one of Willow, it was like very flat,
Yeah.
and now it's more.
Yeah,
It's got a
that
good
was
shape.
cute. It was a good college age cut.
Yeah.
Okay, so yeah, so we get to Giles's with his crazy outfit, and he's got a big old bowl of candy, and he's getting into Halloween, and he's very excited about the holiday. And Buffy, there's a sombrero, and it's on your head.
That bowl of chocolate, I kept pausing and trying to see. It looked like it was like the good stuff. Like I thought I saw Reese's, Nestle Crunch, but could not actually see any labels. But
Quite
it
an
looked like the good stuff.
expenditure for an unemployed dude.
Giles, I'm sure, has good
Yeah,
finances.
he was probably a good saver, huh? So anyway, Buffy is telling him that she thinks she should patrol, and she's trying to convince him of it. He's like, "There's not going to be any activity tonight," and she's like, "Don't you remember Ethan Rain and when?" And he's, "Yeah, no, I don't think that's going to happen." But
Just go take it easy. Go have
go have
fun.
fun.
Look at my little dancing Frankenstein.
Yep. So let's see what's next. Oh,
Next week,
then we're at the frat house prepping for the big party.
also the American Horror Story Murder
Murder
House.
house, yes. And so once I saw that, I went down a rabbit hole about that house. It's called the Rosenheim Mansion. It's in
Okay.
Los Angeles, and apparently it was sold to a couple after the show filmed there, and they sued the people that bought it, sued the person that sold it to them because they did not disclose that it was a film location for that show, and they were having to deal with all the fans of American Horror Story going to the house,
Hmm.
and they ended up turning it into an Airbnb. For
I
so
mean, that's
that's
smart.
a
I'm sure there
smart
are tons of
solution to
people
that.
that
So then
want
I
to
was
stay
like,
there.
"Holy hell, if that's an Airbnb, we are going."
Yes.
I don't think it still is. I couldn't find it, but I did find an HGTV tour of the house, and they said they were showing, "Oh, this was Violet's room, and this is this," and a lot of it is very. The interiors were used in the show. It's very interesting. Oh my god, would you go stay there, Sean?
I would love to
That would
stay
be
there. That'd
amazing,
be
wouldn't it?
amazing.
All right, I'm gonna
Yeah.
keep looking.
So
I did
the
see on the American Horror on the Murder House, the pictures that I saw on Google, there was big chain link fence around it to keep people out.
yeah,
Which, yeah, what a pain to have to deal with that.
especially if you didn't know.
So anyway, we are at the frat house and we are prepping for the party. And man,
Hmm.
they are going all out.
Yeah, everybody's putting up
Yeah.
decorations.
Per the frat guy talking to his friend, he's Halloween is not about thrills, chills, and funny costumes. It's about getting laid. And his friend, I was like, "Gosh, I think that guy played the Black Power Ranger.
And you
What is he
did.
doing on this show?"
I watched this episode specifically many times, and it never clicked until today. The minute he came on, I'm like, I know that guy, and I
Yeah.
was pretty sure. I was like, so then I checked IMDb, and yep, sure enough.
I don't know if you guys all get tired of me doing these little asides, but I'm gonna do one more for now about Power Rangers. When I was in school for my education degree, I, for one summer, taught at a La Petite Academy preschool, and I had all the 4 and 5-year-olds. That was my class. And one of their favorite things to do on the playground was to play Power Rangers. But unfortunately, that always meant somebody was going to get kicked in the head and cry. So I have so many times had to say, no Power Rangers, no more Power Rangers. But Miss Melanie, we're playing nonviolent Power Rangers.
Yeah.
Okay. Bah!
So the other guy tells, or no, I think it's the Walter Jones who played the Black Power
Yeah.
Ranger said, "Is there any holiday that's not about getting laid?"
Arbor Day.
And Arbor Day would. The joke writes itself.
Sean, you have a
Come
good
on.
point. That is a good day. Flag Day, half staff.
They're talking about calling Oz to help them out with their sound system because it sucks. One of them mentioned that you were looking for something cool to draw or paint on the floor, and I found this interesting mystical diagram.
Always a good
Ugh,
idea.
they don't learn. They never
They did
learn.
not watch The Evil Dead.
Yep. In Xander's basement, Anya shows up
Mhm.
because Uncle Rory let her in.
He does
He smells of peppermint.
he always smell of peppermint. Could smell worse. He does love his schnapps.
Years ago, one of Mike's bosses got him a bottle of peppermint schnapps as a Christmas gift. I think I just got rid of it like last year. Like, we are never going to do anything with
I
this.
just
Finally,
saw
it's
a
going
reel today of a guy that was doing a hike in Germany, and it was called some German name that I can't remember, but it was like a schnapps hike. Like you're hiking in the woods, and every so often there's a little, like a, how they have like the littlest libraries and little pantries
bad.
like that, except it's schnapps. You
Oh,
put your euros in the little box, and then you get a little glass and get a little sip of schnapps.
huh,
I might even
that
hike
and hiking.
for that kind of thing.
Huh,
Yeah, schnapps
interesting.
hike.
Like the 5K I did a couple of years ago when we were doing 5Ks at work, and it was the bacon run.
Yeah,
So it was like every K they would give you bacon. That
you know,
should go along with
just
running.
need the right motivation.
Yep.
So, Anya says, "You haven't called me," and but you said you're over me, and she's like, "And you accepted that?" Poor poor Xander with the mixed signals. And she reminds him that it's their anniversary.
It's been a week since we copulated.
Copulated. Oh my gosh. She also doesn't understand why he still hangs out with the gang because they don't have anything in common. Once again, reinforcing his insecurity about not being in college and kind of losing touch with them. They agree to go on a date to the frat party. He tells her she's going to need a costume, something scary.
Yep.
Yep. Then we cut to Buffy at Professor Walsh's classroom, and she's asking for the assignment because she missed class, and Professor Walsh is not very understanding.
Nope.
She's tough.
She is tough. Yeah.
She's tough. Basically, she's like, "You miss one more class and you're done." And then Riley is there, the TA, and he kind of gives her a little talk, makes her feel a little better.
Yeah.
And I put a note. I wonder if they're going to get together. Are they going to get together?
Buffy and
Yeah.
Riley. Interesting thought.
Okay. So then we're back at the frat house, and they're painting the symbol on the floor. Oz and Xander are there, bringing the sound equipment. Oz cuts himself while he's trying to fix the speaker system, and of course, the blood goes onto the symbol.
And it goes all wooey.
Yeah, activates the symbol. Oh man.
And there's a fake spider and it becomes real
Yep.
and crawls away.
Yep. Oh man. Stuff's gonna happen.
Yep. At Buffy's house, Joyce is adjusting Buffy's old Red
From
Riding Hood
when she's
costume.
12. You can things out and hem things up, but I don't think you can adjust a 12-year-old's costume enough to have it fit a 19 or 20-year-old.
It was a cape and a hood. Not like it was like a
Still,
bodice.
Sean, I don't think if I got out a costume of mine from when I was 12, it wouldn't go
Okay.
over one of my legs.
But it's a
Like,
cape.
it would be like
A very short cape. They're like, "Ma'am, your lobster
okay,
bib
okay,
is on
wait
backwards."
I've got my cape. It's my cape from when I was 12. Sean.
Love it.
Anyway,
It's really just an excuse for them
for
to
them to have a
talk,
little talk.
and Buffy's feels like she's, like, lost contact with her dad.
Well, yeah, she says something about how he left, and they
Mm,
all leave. All the men in her life leave. And then she talks, and then Joyce is like, "Oh, but he loved you so much. Remember, he took you out trick or treating. He loved it." And the comment she makes is, "He just wanted he wanted the candy. I was just the beard." That's a crazy thing to say.
yeah, yeah.
And then Joyce is, "Candy was for me. He loved you." But then Joyce reminds her that the divorce had nothing to do with her.
I don't know how much I believe that.
Yeah. So do we? I know I've asked you this. Do we know what the divorce was about, or do we find out eventually?
So, we got one flashback, I think it was towards the end of season 2, where Joyce and Monzo are fighting because Buffy got home late, and she was out late because she was slaying, and they're having an argument about it. That's really the only, like, flashback that we've gotten about
Mm,
I'm not saying she's the reason that they got divorced, but I'm sure her burning down the gym
her
and being
behavior,
out all
probably.
the time added stress into the relationship.
Yeah.
I never think a kid is the reason for a divorce,
Right,
but
right, right, right.
I think the stress of the
There was stress.
situation contributed definitely
All right.
played a role.
Buffy sees a pattern with the men in her life, and I made a note, again, you chase your father, that relationship you have with your father sets the tone a lot of times. And so Buffy says maybe it's easier to not let anybody in, and then Joyce confides that she tried that approach when they first got to Sunnydale. But now she has a nice circle of friends, and I said that she visits in the white collar prison.
I actually thought this is like the first time in a while that Joyce was being a good mom.
Yes. Although, what I thought was, okay, so she's chasing her father figure, but she's also emulating her mother in a lot of ways, like going through the same stuff her mother's gone through
Yeah. Yep.
on her way to tax fraud and embezzlement.
We get a little throwback to Ted.
Yes, she mentions Ted. Yep.
Yeah.
Not by name,
Didn't
but
help
yes.
my last
Yep.
boyfriend was a homicidal robot.
Yep. And then Joyce says, "You've got Mr. Giles and your friends. There's nothing to be afraid of." Da da da.
I'm sorry. She should just call him Rupert. They've been
At this
intimate.
point,
Mr.
once
Giles.
he's been inside of you're on first name basis. Twice. Cut to toilet papering and silly string and Halloween fun on
Saving
campus.
James. Yep.
This whole scene from this point on to Willow leaving the building, I don't understand why it was necessary. Willow's on the phone, kind of talking about Buffy, and I guess she's talking to Oz. And she,
Yeah.
okay, I'll see you in a bit. She walks out, and then we get like a whole walking down the hall thing. She bumps into a guy in drag. Oh, I love your costume. And then she goes past a guy on the phone. And then she goes past a lobster who's having a fight with his girlfriend who's dressed as a present.
Yeah.
But it's not like she just walks by. It's like we're in on their conversation. It's very weird. I was
Yeah.
like, "Why do we care about these people?"
And that and the lobster, he was committed.
He
Like he had the
was.
costume, but his face was
He
red. Like
was. But again, I'm like, "Why did these people have any
yeah.
bearing on this episode at all? They're not even characters that we saw before or that we'll see again."
Yeah.
I don't
All
know.
fair
It was a
points.
strange choice.
Yeah.
Then we're at the frat house again. The party is in full swing. The frat guy is guiding the girl through the gross out bowls. And she puts her hands in the eyeball bowl, and it turns out they're really eyeballs.
And
Ah!
screaming and strobe lights ensue.
Yes. Oh, yeah, man. Then we see Buffy, and Xander comes in with his tux. Buffy is in her 12-year-old costume, and Xander's in his tux because he's James Bond. And he says, "Hey, Red, what you got in the basket, little girl?" And she says, "Weapons." He just goes, "Oh,
Good answer.
oh,
I mean, I liked where his head was at when he said, I got the tux because I was thinking 007 if we turn into our costume.
yes, that's right.
And she said, or you're going to be the head
That's
waiter.
right." Oh, oh, poor
But
Zeppo.
Willow and Oz show up. We find out that Willow is Joan of Arc.
Yep.
Oz is just dressed as Oz, a little name tag. He's God.
Yeah,
Because,
because Joan of Arc was close to God.
you know,
That was good. I like that. Let's see. La, 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 la. Oh yeah, and I said I totally almost said that was what was going to be on his name tag. God, yeah, but I didn't. Ugh. Next time I'll
the,
say it. And
the
then we see the guys with guns come out of the bushes, and they really don't pay much attention. They're like, "It's Halloween. What are they supposed to be?"
Halloween.
Oh,
You
as Oz says, "NATO."
And then mayhem in the murder
Oh,
house.
mayhem is a good word for it. Yes, a lot of
Guy
shaky
falls down the
camera.
stairs. Yeah. Guy falls down the stairs, breaks his neck. We hear some murmuring saying, "Release me."
Release me, which reminded me of look.
That's
Like
it.
that. Anya oh, no, okay, so then the gang shows up to the frat house, and they're like, "Where is everybody?" There's nobody there. They're not impressed with the party. Willow has a small freak out when she walks through the spider web on the wall, and then there's the spider is on her shoulder. That's creepy.
Yeah.
Um, they go upstairs, and they find blood on the floor, real blood, and then they
Which Buffy is just all hands
oh,
in.
yeah, she's "Oh,
Ew.
it's real blood."
Yuck. And
Pull the
then
cautions, Buff.
exactly.
Right?
And then bats.
We hear a
Swarm of
squeaky
bats.
noise, and then we see bats, and then there's CGI bats, and then there's rubber bats, all forms of bats in this episode. And then we hear it again, "Release me."
Which is a good dance song by Veronica.
Okay, good to know.
Yeah.
All right.
And then outside, Anya walks up
In her big
in
fluffy
her,
bunny costume.
yeah, and she can't find a way in.
No
And
door.
she looks up, sees a girl screaming at the window, and the window closes up.
That was pretty good.
Yeah,
That was pretty
that was
good
good
effect.
effect.
I like that. Yeah, that was good. And then the first thing she says, "Xander." She's worried about Xander.
Mhm.
Yep. Inside,
Young-
the gang notices there's no door, and they're like, "It's time to go. Time to get out of here." Now they hear some hissing, and they open the door, and they find the frat guy hiding in the closet, crying, and it's alive.
And there's a skeleton that is alive. That was actually a good
That was a
effect.
pretty creepy looking skeleton with the eyeball.
Yeah,
Yeah, that was creepy.
yeah.
It comes up behind them, and he slashes Buffy in the cape. Good thing she had that cape. Then Bunchy.
Bunchy and Willa.
Buffy punches him and he falls down. Now he's not alive anymore. He's just a decoration again. And then they hear screaming, and the closet is gone. All the doors and windows are just going away in this house. That's pretty freaky. And then Buffy, good thing, she brought the crossbow.
You know how I feel about crossbow.
That crossbow
Faith
has
is
been
the
helpful.
only one.
That little handheld
Faith is,
crossbow has been pretty helpful.
yeah, the faith.
Oh, yeah. Giles is at home now. He's just taken to the same thing we all do on Halloween after a certain time. He's just eating the candy himself.
Buffy wants to go further on, but she wants everybody else to leave. And Willow kind of gets annoyed about that. Not your sidekick.
Yes.
She wants to try and use a spell to them
Yep.
forward. And Xander's invisible. Maybe not invisible, but can't be seen by anybody else. I was a little upset is a strong word, but I was a little upset they did not reference Marcy, the invisible girl from season 1.
Yeah.
Because it's pretty much the same thing, only stayed visible. Just no one could see him for a little bit.
Yeah.
And we already referenced her with the look and listen.
There you go. We took care of it, Sean.
So then they get separated,
Yep.
all 4 of them.
Yep.
Oz and Will are going up the stairs. Oz is starting to get claws.
So I guess that was his wolfing out look in
Hmm.
the intro credits. But that's
Yep.
not what his wolf has looked like yet, has it? With the
Well, we
black
really
eyes
never.
and the
Maybe they were getting ready for a better wolf for season
That's what I
4.
mean.
They
Like
gotta.
in previous seasons, it didn't look like that. Okay. All right.
No,
Okay, good.
we really never saw him in transition much. I think only once, but it didn't look like that.
Okay. All right. Yeah, so he says he needs to get away, and Willow's, I can do the spell. And he's, no, I need to get away. And then she reaches for him, and he swipes at her, and he scratches her hand, and then he runs away. Xander is in a hallway. He looks in the mirror. He can see himself at least. And that he is like, but nobody else can see me, which I thought that's quite a conclusion to jump to, considering it's only one person that you've dealt with that can't see you. But
Yeah,
okay,
really only
all
one.
right. And then behind him, there's a disembodied head on the table, and it comes alive, and he runs away. And I was like, I don't know what you're running from. It's not like that head is going to go anywhere. It's got no mean of motoring off of that table.
Right? It's
Okay.
just wiggle
Yeah,
around
she's
now.
gonna wiggle around and wink at you. Then we go to Oz, and he's in a bathtub. He's willing himself not to change, but he's pretty much changed. But he's freaking out.
Yeah.
Buffy is still patrolling the halls. Then we see Willow's doing the spell, and the spell seems to work, but then she loses control of the spell, and all the little lights or whatever she conjured now are all multiplied and around her head, attacking her. Buffy can hear Willow calling, but she can't find her. She busts through a door and falls. There's no stairs. She just falls to the ground. I guess it's in the basement,
Yeah.
which has a sand floor, which I guess that's a California thing. I don't know.
California
Yeah.
thing. Yeah. The guy with the broken neck is playing on her feeling
Yeah. Yep.
alone. And then he won't be alone, and then zombies show
Yeah.
up.
Then there's zombies coming up through the floor. Giles and Anya arrive to the frat house. There's no door. Giles, we just have to create a door. And she's like, can you do that? Yes, I can. Shoo! He's got the
Rolls out the
chainsaw.
chainsaw.
He's walking down the street with a chainsaw and a duffel bag.
That's the beginning of a bad joke.
Buffy is battling the zombies, and she finds like a small door in the wall in the basement. She goes through, and she's back in the upstairs room, which she calls the goat room, which I don't remember anybody else referring to it as the goat room before.
Nope.
Lots of traumatized people around the room. Oz is there. He's no longer changed. Willow is there. She's no longer stuck with her little spell lights.
Yep.
Xander is there, and he's talking to himself like, "You idiots! You wouldn't want my input if you blah, blah, blah," you know. And Buffy's, "What is wrong with you?"
And he's very
Yeah.
relieved that he can be seen and heard again.
Yes. Apparently they all got so scared that they ended up in that room, and then they noticed the symbol on the floor. They find the source book. And Willow's, it's Gaelic. Here, I'll translate it.
And we find out it's the mark of Gaknar. Gaknar is a demon that feeds on fear.
Yep.
And then Giles breaks in with his chainsaw
Yep.
with Anya behind him.
Yep. And he's like, Gaknar, of course. I should have known.
So he starts reading from the book, destroying the mark of Gaknar, and Buffy just goes over and just smashes it.
Oh my god, that was so funny.
Is not one of the ways I bring the demon itself. Like, there's a TikTok I keep seeing. I don't know if you've seen it, but it's like somebody's watching a how-to video. You should see a black cord in front of you, and they pull it out. Do not pull on the black cord. If you pull the black, and then there we go to plug it back in. If you pulled on the black cord, do not plug it back in. That's immediately what I thought of when I saw that.
Yes. Yep.
So,
Yep.
So Gaknar is summoned.
Oh my god.
Horned demon. We see him rising. And like 3 inches.
That was amazing. That was so good. I loved it. And then they're talking about him. He's so cute. Look at him. And Giles, don't taunt the fear demon. And in the background, he's still going, I am the fear. I bring the terror. He's so cute.
And then
Don't
Buffy
taunt the
squishes
fear
him.
demon. Why, can he hurt me? No, it's just tacky. And Buffy squashes him.
And then back at Giles' villa,
Yep.
they're munching on some
Mhm,
chocolate. Xander asks Anya about her bunny
mhm.
costume, and
And she says, "Bunny,
Bunny's frightened
frighten
her.
her." Yep.
And then how does it end, Melanie?
What's that?
How does it end?
Giles is reading the book about Gaknar, and he says, "Oh, I should have read the caption where it says actual size." That's so great. And that's it. That was a good ending. How many steaks, Sean?
3 3/4.
I agree. 3 3/4.
I definitely like this one more than the Halloween episode where everybody turned into their
Yeah.
costumes.
Okay.
Probably because this one is funnier. It's funnier, but also scarier. I think they did a good job of separating everybody and having everybody see their fears and interact with all that, and then having the twist at the end.
Yes. Yeah. The
Yeah.
twist at the end made it for me.
Mhm.
You know me. Yeah, that was really good.
Favorite line?
I highlighted a couple lines that I liked. The first thing where Buffy said he wanted the candy, I was just the beard, just because it struck me as such a strange thing to say, a strange phrase to use in that context. And then, "Hey, Red, what you got in the basket, little girl?" And she says, "Weapons," and he says, "Oh." And then when Giles says, "Gaknar, of course." Well,
Duh.
duh. What about you?
I think it was Oz when he was bringing the speakers, and he said "Mi Casio as su
Oh,
Casio" instead of "Mi
yeah,
Gaz." Oh, Oz.
clever.
Yeah.
Next up,
Next up, season 4, episode 5, Beer Bad. I cannot wait to hear what you think this is going to be about.
it's gonna be about there's tainted beer. There's tainted
Okay.
beer, and it turns all the kids into monsters.
Okay.
Which I thought, well, that's a great way to identify underage drinking because it's hard to deny that you were drinking if you're a monster. It's a good way to
Yeah.
identify those kids that were not supposed to be drinking and were.
All right. Interesting.
Sean.
Go
All right,
on.
we'll
Go on.
see. I
You
just
know,
can you like sit in a mirror?
I
I
don't
will tell you
practice.
things, funny things, and you just have to keep your composure and
No,
practice
I
that
just
one.
stare. I just stare at the art that's above your bed instead of looking at at you. I just look at that and just focus on that. Don't give it away. Don't give it away.
That's funny. All right.
We uh we may have a guest for that episode.
Oh, for beer bad?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah,
It's
yeah.
exciting.
I had set it up I think in December. Since some time has passed, I want to make sure that we're still on.
Okay.
But another Buffy podcaster may be joining us.
Oh, that's exciting.
Yep.
All right.
Yeah. You want to tell them about the socials?
Yeah, let's talk about it. We are everywhere, and we are at the Sunnydale Diaries. We are on Blue Sky as at Sunnydale Diaries. We have an email, the Sunnydale Diaries at gmail.com. We also have a website, which is thesunnydalediaries.com. And on that website, you can check out episodes. You can get a copy, download of our 2025 Jenny calendar PDF, which is free. You can get an invite to our Discord server. And I think that's it. I think if you want to get in touch with us in any of those places, feel free to. We'd love to hear from you.
So we'll be back in 2 weeks. So that will be March 24th with Beer Bad.
All right, exciting.
All right, bye, guys.
Bye.